Are we live? How are we live? We're off to a good start with the auto captions, aren't we? Hello. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Livestream's $5 song requests number 51, where for today, for just $5, we'll review a track that you'd like to be reviewed via Ko-fi. Via Ko-fi. There you go, and via Ko-fi, that's good. That's great. And we've got to like change this here because at the moment it's a bit kind of orange. There we go. That should be a little bit less pointed. I think everything else is looking okay. If we switch over to here, we have ourselves Spotify. And then, of course, what I've forgotten to do in my infinite wisdom is actually have it so that it... I'm losing my mind. Okay. I'm losing my mind. So we got this over here. This is professional. This is professionalism right here. For some reason, it will get into the corner and it won't want to move. And it won't want to move. So it's stuck here. It's now there. There we go. So now this is full. So if I move it to here, this is now not what I want, but it's what it is. And of course, what I've just done there, I'm going to do this again because I did not do this the right way the first time. And here, there we go. There we are. So then you go here, and it just looks a bit grotesque, really. On here, you can make it big. And yeah, you can see that that's not really where it needs to be. And I've just gone to my settings now because everything is a hellscape. Hello, Shinyuda. How are you today? How are you today? Hopefully you're okay. Where could I possibly submit music to? You can submit music wherever you like. I haven't opened it yet. Sub Jerry Huang. So the queue is now open, if you can see this. We're in chat time, I suppose. So Ko-fi's queue is now open. If you go through the link in the description, you'll be able to go to Ko-fi and request a track for review. It will show me when that occurs. We also don't have to do music requests, but ideally we would because it's good to hear new music, you know? Yeah, we're going to basically have that as hard as today. That's good. That as hard as it is, that's good. So now that I have gotten that sorted, hello, Blue Dinner Box. How are you? What I've realized is that if I schedule all 3 live streams earlier on, people will come to the Saturday one. I don't know if I like that. Because I'd rather people come to just stuff other than Saturday, but it's also more convenient for people. And I suppose you've got to make more of an incentive for people to come to the live streams in general, right? To be fair, it's also the weekend. People are busy with their lives and stuff like that. Saturday's a holiday? I mean, it's a day off work, to be fair. Yeah, to be fair. See this? This is a Pikachu. I got that Pikachu from the airport. I got the Pikachu from the airport in Haneda before I flew back to New Zealand. They have little origami Pikachus in the store that they have there, so that was a lot of fun. I can't remember whether I specifically went to a store for that or not, but either way, thank you, Jerry Huang, for submitting a track. I appreciate that. It kind of makes me wonder whether I should just do Saturdays and Sundays for these live streams. Because Saturdays and Sundays seem to be the busier day. But I also like having Sundays off because that means I have a day off each week. I think that switching things up too much is going to confuse things. So anyways, we're going to look through Jerry Huang's one. Thank you, Jerry Huang, for your commission. I appreciate that. And we did do Jacob's yesterday, so that was good. So we've done that. We'll go away from that. So this is Jerry Huang's track. And what is it called? Nope. There we go. Hello, sweet little love. How are you? You good? Okay. So this is from Jerry Huang. And this track is titled Beautiful Life by The Fly. Apparently. So that's cool. And we'll find it on Spotify. And that's that. Cool, let's listen to it. Let's have a listen to this track from The Fly. Whenever it decides to load. There we go. It'll do it sometime in the next 15 years. Oh, did I double click that accidentally? Oh, okay. There's no sound. Why is there no sound? Oh. Thank you for telling me about that. Is there a sound now? There you go. So OBS just decided to have an aneurysm because I went and had the audacity to reload or reset my my hardware. So that's good. Go. It's a very loud track. Like there's a lot going on. There's a pleasurable sort of dissonance to it. Okay, so that was Beautiful Life by The Fly. Sort of alt rock. I'm not sure what the track was about apart from potentially either being genuine about a beautiful life or sarcastic about it. The vocals were solid. I appreciate the kind of raucous, raw nature to it. I think we showed some solid vocal technique. They harmonized well with the lead guitars when they came in on the sides. And generally, I feel like it's a good mesh for the elements. Again, I'm not sure what the track's about, but it feels like the expression is relevant and appropriate for the style of music we're doing. And it's punk as fuck, man. The track at 3 or 4 minutes 12 is well fleshed out with a variety of different guitar, bass, and drum parts. I think there was almost a sort of like a melancholic feel with even with those harmonic and melodic minors and some of those lead guitar elements there. I feel like it was really well structured in that, and there was no filler within it. There was always a lot going on, though. You had a lot of different drum patterns. There were some quarters, eighths, and 16th notes, even some sort of 16th, 13ths, or 16th triplets sort of snare patterns moving into it. It was quite a tight mix. I feel like it was kind of squashed to an extent where it was almost meant to sort of feel claustrophobic, which is interesting sort of like sound to go for. I think the kind of raunchy, kind of crispy nature of those guitar power chords and bar chords were, again, appropriate for the genre there. We kind of almost had some parallel majors there, which made it a little bit sort of like subversive. The bass line's rolling pretty well with everything else going on in the mix. There was a bit of dynamic range, but not a lot. I don't think it was meant to be a gentle track to listen to. But the instrumentality of it was definitely there. Typically, overall, quite a solid instrumental performance. The theme itself sort of perpetuated a sentiment of, again, like the sarcasm that Jerry Huang mentioned. It's there to sort of let you know, hey, I'm sort of talking about this is kind of being exotic, but in reality, it's all just kind of sort of a shambles and falling apart there. A parody of the concept. And I think that is represented again by the harshness of the guitar tones, the how kind of squeezed the drums were, just that kind of like you're forcing yourself through it. And again, the tone of the vocals, more than anything related to necessarily the actual sort of music, the harmonies or melodies within the piece itself. But those harmonized guitars on top were quite pretty, and I like the way they interlaced the piece. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering in like a squashed mix. It was loud, it was kind of raucous, and it was meant to sort of be quite in your face. They weren't going for a pretty sound here. Again, it was kind of like a contradiction to the title. But I feel like in that sense still, especially in regards to the genre, the guitars, bass, drums, and the vocals niched well together in the free spectrum stereo field. Leveling in general was good. Nice and loud without pumping. Thank you to Jerry Huang for putting this track forward. It was Beautiful Life by The Fly. Tight. Cool, man. So that was the first track from today from Jerry Huang. That was good to listen through. What else do we have? Thank you for letting me know there wasn't sound, by the way. When I started doing this, what would happen is that people would not tell me that there was no sound, and then we'd have an entire live stream without sound, and that would suck. Thankfully, people communicate now, which is good. So this is from Sweet Little Love. Thank you, Sweet Little Love. I assume this is probably going to be an original, if I'm not mistaken. It could also be someone else, but we'll find out. It's good that we're putting stuff on Spotify. I know that a lot of Sweet Little Love stuff is on SoundCloud, but you do get a lot of real estate from having it on multiple platforms as well. Don't make me cry. So let's do this. I think there's another 4 tracks in the queue, including this one. So it's a busy day today. Thank you for your requests. Completely different sound to what we had previously, but that's fine. It's kind of pushed, but I dig it. I like that bit of attitude there on the vocals. It's just fun. It's gentle, but the speed of it does elevate you a bit, you know? Does Alabama. It's really important that we had that point to pause. A lot of songs will just continue to go and 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 go. And what that can mean is that you're left in a situation where it's just start to finish, yeah, it pulls you through, but you kind of feel exhausted at the end because it's just been quite a lot. Having a moment to pause is nice. I like the offbeat resonance on this part too. And the voiceover there is cool as well. Okay, so that was Don't Make Me Cry by Sweet Lily Love. I think that is an original. We'll put that up on the screen. What do I think the track is about? I think it's about someone who is just really begging this person not to let them down, not to leave them, for them to be together till the end of time. They want to be together till the end of time. And you get this feeling of it's very gentle in their approach. It's something that I think Sweet Lily Love has spoken about in other tracks that they've made that I've reviewed. And you just get this kind of eternal connection that they're looking for there. And with Bowie Productions talking about they love the energy, I think that's definitely a thing to consider here. The energy throughout the track is palpable. It's incredibly uplifting, and it is by virtue of being energy is energetic. But it's also just the way that it's sung. I enjoy the timbre of the vocals. the melodies make sense with the backing arrangements and the harmonies, etc. But it's also a track where we don't try to overcomplicate it. We're simply trying to sort of caress the person we're speaking to into wanting to sort of be a part of what we're trying to sort of bring forward. And I enjoy that a lot. It's a pleasant vocal melody and like a way of expressing themselves. And amongst all the kind of really sort of like sort of upbeat kind of things in this, it fits in as almost like a kind of a cozy blanket in there, which is part of why I think it works so well when things come down. The track at 4 minutes 22 is well phrased. There's lots of different synth parts, as well as, of course, the drums and the different sort of woman or guys talking, kind of introducing you between drops and stuff like that. It's a song where at face value, it's a lot of it is simply about those builds and drops and those little bits in between where you get more context for the story. A lot of it is simply revolving around the chord note grooves on the percussion and the drum kit, and it's effectively saying you need to focus on being sort of like dancing with it. It's not necessarily about the story as much, because when you get that hook line one time through, you kind of get what the track is about immediately. To sort of, I suppose to kind of simplify it, it's more a case of we have these really compelling synth leads there that either arpeggiate off of existing chord harmonies within it, or they create melodies that either alt well with the main vocals, or they have their own presence in the mix and they feed off like a longer sort of call and response across an extended period. And I think that the bass lines underneath it with the offbeat resonances kind of pair well with the kicks that are on beat. So you've got that kind of constant back and forth, which almost makes the track seem like it's twice as long as it, like twice as fast as it actually is, should I say. And just the harmonies themselves, the theme itself isn't complicated. You have a range of different rises which bring you up, and then the bass thumps you back down, and the side chaining with the kicks is solid. Thematically, it's a track where it focuses on a major feel, whilst also being kind of mystical with the tone of the kind of fantasy elements there. But there's enough punch to it to kind of keep you moving. And we have a great sort of encompassed sort of knowledge of how the rhythms different work main four, as well as like 30 seconds and other loops. We understand our rhythms, our fundamentals in composition, and it's sort of brought forward into a space where the post-production itself, again, with that kind of focus on catchiness, was also that fast tempo pulling us forward. The leveling and everything like that is well handled. And I feel like there's sufficient dynamic range, especially with how things came down in that interlude section. I'm trying to pause so that the captions understand that I'm trying to sort of do it in bits, but it doesn't catch it. So apologies for any confusion there. Generally, I think the vocals, there's different synth leads, sort of pads, sequences, etc. The basses and the drums are all niched well. No issues with regards to like it's commercial grade studio production in my view, and I don't know what they could have done to improve it. Well done, Sweet Little Love, on this track, Don't Make Me Cry. It's another really solid addition to your discography, and I wish you the best of luck with your musical endeavors. But we got that's the song. That is Don't Make Me Cry. Hopefully nobody does. What have we got next though? You're welcome. We've got a song from David. And what does David have for us today? And good on you guys for supporting each other. It is a cat eat dog world out there with the music industry. If you can show each other some love, it's usually really good, really positive. The last thing anyone needs is bitchiness. So this next track is David's pick. Isyana Sarasvati, Unlock the Key. Let us do this. What do we have here? What are we in for? We will see. Track number 3 for today, I think. Whenever it decides to load. There we go. And of course, we have ourselves some internet issues because life is just a box of fluffies. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to have to get myself either a new router or a new internet thing for my computer because it does have issues, but let's go. Let's do it. Incredibly dramatic, isn't it? Oh, I wasn't expecting that turn into the guitarist drums like that. Just the unison with the drum parts, with some of the vocal bits, the changes in grooves there are just tremendous. The video editing as well is kind of out of this world, isn't it? I'm sorry, what is this? So this is Unlock the Key, which is a track from Isyana Sarasvati, who is an Indonesian pop singer with classical opera and keyboard training. Thank you, David. This has been the most surreal experience I think I've had reviewing a track in quite a while. Where do you even begin with this? What do I think the track is about? I think it is about someone who is trying to sort of find the key within themselves. They're doing a lot of introspection. Maybe they're meditating on things. You just get the impression that they're trying to understand themselves better. Maybe inviting others to be able to do so, to find the key in order to be able to do that. Yeah, that's my best take on it. And there's always different layers that they're unlocking, and eventually they kind of get forced out of their own mind because they're unable to sort of find that core. Or perhaps potentially what happens is that though they find repels them so much that they can't ever go back again. I don't know what pelosum is, but repels them. There we go. Repels them to a point where it's sort of the vocal performance within this track to coincide with that is absolutely phenomenal. Clearly, Isyana Sarasvati is a phenomenal singer. They got incredible just vocal technique, hidden chest voice. Their range is stunning. They perform the operatic role with soprano parts incredibly well, and they are wonderfully elegant the entire time that they perform. There's a huge amount of expression and intent behind it that is met by everything else that goes on, because this track is an absolute fever dream. But it's like a fever dream that you want to have. And like, how do I describe everything else within it with the understanding that it was sung so well? It's like, it sounded like a funeral dirge at first with the vocal harmonies and the bell tolling for her, almost like if they didn't find the key, they were going to pass away. It's kind of what, like, I listened to the guitar elements there, the progressive metal parts there, the profuse double kick, all the different grooves there, the variety of different tempos that were infused within it, because it wasn't too one tempo. It went up and down. It was classically trained. There was no click in this. All the instrumentalists could just play as well as they were, and that's a feat within itself. Nowadays, it could be extremely tempting to not to use quantizing and stuff, but you just can't really do it that effectively, or as effectively as you have here, without there being compromises. So I appreciate the effort put in to make a really wonderful percussive performance there. The guitars with the various major and minors, the chromatics, the modulations, the various sort of scale and lead shapes, they're navigating a really difficult, really complicated piece was tremendous, almost meant to sort of represent, I suppose, the complexity within their mind. The keys as well, with the harpsichordish elements there, just like, specifically piano, but just like the way that it's navigated in a way that allows for that flexibility with the guitar parts, was also sticking with some more slower kind of major or minor triads that at face value are a lot more sort of edible. It's just, and then you've got sort of the string elements, how they feed off each other, and there's moments where it's slow and others where it's far more chaotic and it twists and turns. And you just have one chapter after another structurally, because this is a through composed piece and it just never lets up. It's just continuously mind blowing throughout the entirety of it. And I think that Sweet Lily said the video is so amazing. I'm trying to stay focused on the song. This is the epitome of a really successful audio-visual experience. It's just, it's what you need in this day and age to compete with the world. You need to compete with the world, and you need to create stuff that is this captivating and engaging in order to get anywhere. And I'm glad that they have an audience for it. I think that if I was to sort of talk about all the little intricacies, it would take a much longer time than I want to have with this, considering we've got other tracks to check out as well. But I just want to say, clearly, this is a song where you need to sit down with it and you need to listen through it multiple times. You need to listen through this track multiple times in order to be able to sort of absorb things. You're not going to be able to get everything within this track in one listen. There's just too many different things to pay attention to and take hold of at once. My mind blown by the instrumental performance. I would expect no less from someone at Asanya's level. I'm really happy that I had a chance to listen through it, so thank you to David for that. The theme itself, it's more through composed. There are different chapters for different elements, for different sounds, for different vibes, to quote a euphemism there. And I think it's just to try and narrow it down to a specific theme just sort of patronizes it. But what I would say is the studio production is the icing on the cake. It's wonderfully articulate. Everything is captured the way it needs to here. There's dynamic range. It's just so proficient and so capable that it's honestly transcendent. And I'm just so happy to have listened to it. So thank you to Isyana Sarasvati for putting this track through. To David putting this track through from Isyana Sarasvati, titled Unlock the Key. I am really enamored with their efforts, and I think everyone here did a tremendous job. Turbulent music for turbulent state of mind. Exactly. That's the best way of looking at it. And sup, the fabulous band? How are you doing today? Hopefully you are having a fabulous day, right? Did I do it? Anyways, thank you to David for that. That was awesome. That is another track down. Who do we have next? We have a track from Boe. If I'm not mispronouncing that, I apologize if I am. My pronunciation is not great. Thanks for your request. Request. There we go. What does Bue have for us today? I don't know. Bue Productions, beat produced by me, Killer. A simple beat I made with vocals on a hook. Cool. So it's an original. That's cool. Sick. Let's do it, man. Bue Productions. What have we got? It's YouTube's. So that's cool. Bue. Bue. Thank you, Bue Productions. I appreciate that. I like the thing swirling in the headphones, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, who the fuck is Boo?
The 808s and kicks are kind of are well-rounded here. I like the stop-starty parts because I feel like it chops up the music and makes it a little bit more kind of engaging. I'm not necessarily as sure about the brat brat parts personally because I feel like we already have the kind of stop-starty bits. But I also understand there are styles of genres of music that are similar to this where you do have those. So I feel like once it has more context, it'll probably make more sense. And I think the guitars are a nice touch in amongst the kind of hip-hop-ish kind of elements there, the 808s and the drums and such.
Yeah, who the fuck is Boo?
It might have been cool also to have like another lead on top of this. So you could have had like another lead, or you could have had the guitar coming before this and then like had like some sort of like pseudo lead where you have the guitar coming in and out with some parts just to sort of develop it further, you know. I think because you could definitely put vocals on top of it. Yeah, so the vocals and the guitar bring it around neatly. So that was Killer, production by Bowie Productions. What I think the track is about, I don't know if it necessarily has a specific story the part where they speak about who is Bowie, I think maybe the insinuation is that we're trying to make some sort of killer beats, and in regards to that, I think that is successful. I dig the kind of the edginess and the kind of darkness held within this piece. I think the beat, which I'll talk about in a moment, is solid. The vocals are so David's saying vocals are way in the background, which is unusual. I think that that's good. I think that if you put the vocals too far out on a production beat like this, you're sort of saying these vocals come with this beat. Where if you're working with production, like if you're making beats for people, you want to kind of give people the opportunity to sort of imagine themselves on top, as opposed to, you want the person that's rapping or singing or whatever to be the focal point when you're making a beat for them, as far as I understand it. So I think in that regard, having the vocal chops of like the who the fuck is Bowie part was smart. I think that was smart because it's like you kind of wonder who Bowie is, you attribute him to this beat, but you're also giving plenty of room for people to imagine how that'd sound on top of it. I think that the track of 3 minutes 30 is well structured. I think with an understanding that we are potentially like missing a vocal element or something like that, or a specific more intense sort of story-led part there, it's effective. You have the 808s down low, which are incredibly heavy and they sound thick and full. The drums cut into the mix with the side chaining and stuff like that, and I feel like the crashes that stick with it are effective. I think that I liked when you kind of chopped up some of the parts or had like that guitar part kind of stop there, or the pad kind of stop. There's like a ticka in the background as well. There was like this sequencer that was going on the entire time. It would have been cool to potentially had moments where there wasn't the sequencer, just to appreciate the drum bass or the guitars by themselves. But I also understand that we're wanting to sort of have something be a constant. And with the adjustments that we have with the production to this, working with the different 8th and 16th note grooves and the occasional 30-second triplets with the brat kind of stuff like that, it's cool. You have some whole note stuff with the 808s. The mistiness of the guitar parts work well because there's like a reverb or like them that kind of heavily kind of coats it in a kind of an aura, so to speak. And yeah, like I think generally there's a lot of promise here. I just think you could have potentially have also had an additional lead on the end, sort of show that as a producer you're capable, which I think you are. I think you're capable, for example, of taking that guitar you instantiated at the start, bring it in later on, and having it have slight foreshadowing in a movie, But yeah, hey, you're welcome, Bowie Productions. Thanks for putting the track through. It's what we do here. We review tracks. So yeah, thank you for putting that through. It's good. And by the way, fabulous band. I'm glad that you're having a blast watching this. Thank you for coming along and hanging out. But yeah, I feel like that's a really good start. I think that the theme overall does insinuate that we're going for a sense that minor feel is intense and kind of like it's sort of like kind of in your face, but not in the way where it's too much. I feel like the amount of crashes we had we may have like one too many crashes there. We could have potentially worked some. No, the crashes are fine because rides would have been a little bit too sort of like pretty sounding, I suppose. The studio production in general was pretty good. I'm happy with the clarity of stuff. There might have been a bit of a low range resonance with like some of the subs, but at the end of the day, I think we were going for some heavy ones and the kicks were sidechaining that. So it's fine. Things were layered quite well within the free spectrum and the stereo field, and it was at dynamic range, and it was nice and loud without pumping. So good job. Thank you for putting that through, Bowie Productions. Appreciate your time. That was their track titled Killer. Cool. So who do we have next? We have Adonis Boyd, I think. So let's do it, Adonis Boyd. Thanks for your request. Adonis Boyd. So that means we have 3 in the queue at the moment. So that's cool. And what does Adonis Boyd have for us today? It's an original. There we go. Cool, man. So we've got another original through today. We've had more originals through recently, and I kind of appreciate that. It's great. You're welcome, man. You're welcome, man. It's all good. I'm glad that you got some benefit out of it. So what we're here for, man. So this is for Adonis Boyd music song, I Miss My Best Friend. Sup, Savage? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Let's find this link, eh? Let's do it. What do we got? So this is a music video.
I miss my best friend.
It's such a raw, organic video, and I kind of love it. I adore it. I like it.
Got it. Yes, sir. We're gonna do a chance. Let's do it. You ready? Yes, sir. Sing it with me. I miss my best friend. 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 I miss my best friend.
And even just a little bit of feedback or buzz you can hear, it just makes it seem that more real, you know? Interesting tempo shift here. So that was Adonis Boyd in their track, I Miss My Best Friend. So what do I think this track is about? I think it is about someone who really misses their best friend. And they're just really excited to see them, and they really want to sort of reconnect, and they really just want to sort of have fun with their best friend. And they just miss them. And there's just something so heartwarming about that. It's just something so beautiful because, you know, a lot of people overcomplicate lyrics and stories and stuff like that, but in reality, I feel like this is just something that everyone can get behind. It's beautiful, man. The vocal performance is just so raw. We aren't trying to sort of sound a certain way. I think we're kind of calling out and we're singing the melodies, and they niche well with what's going on with the guitar harmonies, bass and drum parts and everything like that. But the kind of the conversations that we have with each other, there's even the start with the bit where we're talking about I miss my best friend, etc. That introduction, it's just done in a way where it's just kind of like, yeah, no, we've got good vibes all around. And I feel like not trying to sort of polish it makes it more believable, and it also shows that intensity of those vibes. And just yeah, I think that the sort of the kind of called out harmonies there, the sung harmonies as well, and that sort of the chorus sections there, how we came down for that sort of tempo shift part and everything like that, and we yeah, I think it was great to listen to. It was just pleasant. It was just really pleasant. So I think that the vocal performance there with the melodies kind of getting stuck in your head as well, that those parts, sort of the expression, especially when the mic got a bit pushed with the gain signals and stuff like that. Even then, it was like, yeah, no, this sounds like a live performance, and I'm digging it. This is cool. It's everything else where we have this kind of garage bandish kind of aesthetic to the guitars, bass, and drums, where again that it's not a super polished radio signal. It's people wanting to play music with each other in a way that is very much kind of feeding off of each other. You could tell that was played in the same room. The tone of the bass is distinct and works well, really neatly with what the guitar is doing in regards to some of those bar chords or the power chords that we're playing, as well as some of the lead bits and the octaves there. I think the drums as well, with the different sort of hi-hat focused, kind of like eighths, quarters, and sixteenths is tight as well. And I appreciate that, you know, it was just, you could kind of imagine everyone just kind of talking about or wanting to make a track about how they missed their best friend. We didn't overcomplicate those harmonies or melodies because I think we were trying to tell a story that people could get behind. And it was fun. It sounded like they were having fun. And you could kind of imagine them kind of coming down, slowing things down and bringing them back up, etc. in the room, like looking off each other and with that chemistry there. And thematically, I just feel like it's meant to be a sort of like emo kind of punk rockish kind of vibe from the mid 2000s that I kind of grew up with, and I like that a lot. And it's just the studio production. It isn't the cleanest mix, but I don't think it was trying to be. It was. I feel like if you were to kind of get rid of all the resonances and kind of pitch correct it and kind of beat match it, or, you know, like do all that kind of stuff where people will kind of fret over for perfectionist purposes, that isn't what we needed with this, because then it would have seemed kind of manufactured and fabricated. It's a song where any sort of potential like points where we might have been off with one instrument from another, etc., any point where the vocals might not have perfectly matched with some of the guitar chords or melodies or whatever, it just makes it, again, I've said that a lot, but it just makes it real. And I feel like I'd have more fun listening to this band than some others I've heard where it is sort of like flawless and sort of methodical and robotic. There's just a whole lot of feel and oomph behind this, and you really get, you understand where they're coming from, and it's great. I enjoyed this song. This was Adonis Boyd with I Miss My Best Friend, and I hope that you get to hang out with that best friend soon. I think that if it was a tribute, it was a wonderful tribute, and I wish you the best of luck in future with that as well. It's cool. And some really cool music that we've gotten the chance to listen to today. That was great. That was awesome. What do we have next, though? We have 3 tracks to go for your request. Sweet Lily Love says, it reminds me of my younger days hanging out with friends who are just jamming out. Yeah, absolutely. Same here. I don't know about you. For me, it was a long time ago since I was at high school. And like, you know, when I couldn't play the instruments I do, you know, you take music less seriously, but you enjoy it more, I think. And hey, Adonis Boyd, you're welcome. Thank you for making music that's actually great to listen to. Thank you for having fun with music and for really giving a shit, because that's what the music industry needs. They need people who actually care and want to make stuff like this where they're just really into it. It's really important. In fact, you know, I'm going to give that a like, because I like this track a lot. I liked this video. It was cool. Smiley face. I liked it. It makes me happy, man. All right, next track from Dinner Hay, though. This is titled Request from Dinner Hay. This is Joanna Wang's track Tickyville. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let us head on down to Tickyville. just a little tipsy, but it's quite alright.
The classiness of the jazz, man.
Sure, I think that's a gallon, like a frat boy party. Yes, it's quite alright. Where you'll find me at to Tikiville. Raise your martini glass in Tikiville. What you say that you lost your job, eh? Well, we really don't care. Well, let's toast to that. What you say that she broke your heart, eh? I can say that I care. Yes, let's toast to that. All day long they only eat cocktail onions and the olives that sit in their glass. Malnourished but totally intoxicated. That's where I want to be. Yes, Tikiville, here I come.
Their voice is amazing. And the slides and the brushes.
What you say that you lost your job, eh? Well, we really don't care. Yes, let's toast to that. All day long they dance and they sing Irish tunes as they damage mother after mother. All their woes and troubles are no longer there. However, now their liver functions aren't so good, not so good, not so good. My goodness, all the
Dynamic
girls and
range.
boys here down in Tikiville are so beautiful. Can I be like a Tikivillian? Well, that's very easy. Let me sip my wine. So now I think I'm Tikivillian. I drink my champagne down in Tikiville. Sub-dum-dum, 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 sub-dum.
So that was Tickyville from Joanna Wang. Now, what do I think this track is about? It's about drinking and partying and wearing a fun hat and kind of being a part of that maybe sort of permanent sort of like in conservatory. It's fun. It's a great song. I enjoyed listening to it. I think that when you make a track like this, you've got to really kind of commit to the bit with everything to sort of make that storybook work. And Joanna Wang absolutely smashes it here. Bossa Nova, exactly. There you go, David. Absolutely. So how are the vocals? Joanna Wang's vocals are absolutely stellar. A phenomenal vocal technique, especially when we went up into that range and things became quite delicate and stuff like that. It was just so wondrous how we managed to articulate and navigate everything in regards to that in a way that was so soulful and so classy and so it's wonderful. There was a beauty to the voice there. The melodies, navigating some of the complicated extensions within the chord progressions, finding a niche within the frequency spectrum that made sense. Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful vocal performance there. And we were at home wherever we were in the mix. We could hear ourselves at any point. It was super clear. It was great. The track itself at 3 minutes 50 was incredibly well structured. We had verses and choruses, then we had like an interlude section as well, and a solo section with the organ part there, which was wonderful. Like just those little staccatos. those little staccatos on the organ solo part were great. The organ was a sub layer until that point, but it was just a catchy little melody that kind of worked alongside a lot of what Joanna Wang was doing in the forefront previous to that. And so, with that understood, you have a song where it's more about creating that environment that Joanna Wang is discussing. And so you have the slide guitars come in occasionally there for that sense of smoothness and that sort of Hawaiian flair. You have a double bass to resonate with the root notes of the chord progressions alongside the various other instruments, and also for a sort of a more jazzy kind of texture to it. The brushes that are used alongside some of the cymbal and kick and snare parts are just tremendous. They add a kind of further sort of jazziness to it and a kind of a shimmer, almost kind of like the waves and the water, you know. There was like sort of like a xylophone or a marimba or something like that as well, which had a nice sort of higher mid kind of resonance there that sounded innocent and playful and kind of cute and suited the style well. And there are other elements or instruments I'm missing at this point, but just there was a lot of different fun parts there. And I think we had sort of more traditional keys as well, playing extensions and arpeggios on the right hand and sort of reinforcing those jazzy dimensions. But you put all that together and it's a piece where it's not trying to tell you a story with its chord progressions and root notes. It's, again, the textures and styles of instruments and the way they sound together, creating what you'd expect of the place that Joanna Wang is sort of talking about, and you get a nice connection between those. You might imagine movies that have that kind of thing there. The style is appropriate. And I just feel like it's an incredibly classy affair about people getting drunk and having a good time. I feel like that's awesome. It is a chill jazz piece, Blue Dinner Box, for sure. Blue Dinner Box, should I say. The studio recording, mixing and mastering is top tier. Really happy with the way the vocals, keys, organ, bass drums, marimba, etc. are allocated within the track. No complaints at all. Easy to hear everything nicely spread out in the stereo field. There was dynamic range to this. I think there was a part where the drums came out or something like that and things sort of floated, which is fantastic. And it was a nice line without pumping. Yeah, wonderful stuff. I always love Joanna Wang's stuff. They're a phenomenal musician, and thank you to Dinner Hay for putting that track forward. I really appreciate it. Great time. But yeah, that was awesome. So that's the track from Dinner Hay there. I appreciate that. Mark as completed. Who do we have next? Sweet Little Love says, playing Katamari Damacy. Yeah, I can hear that. I hear what you mean. I don't know if you played Astrobot on the PS5. They have a Katamari Damacy level on that, and it's a lot of fun. So if you have Astrobot, if you haven't gone there yet, I've probably spoiled it. But either way, it's a great game, eh? Good times. It reminds me a lot of the games mid-2000s. It's wonderful stuff. That's Dinner Hay done. Yeah? That's good. Oh, did I break it? We have Chromino next. Thank you to Chromino. And Shinyida says, Wong Yuk-lin's voice is so sexy. Do we mean Joanna Wang's voice is sexy? I'm not sure. The subtitles are kind of weird, but, we're doing the best we can. We got Chromino next. What does Chromino have for us? What does Chromino have for us? Fake. That crow is white. Okay, let's listen to this one. And I think after that we have a couple from Shinyida. And we're doing well for time. I think we're on like 6 if I'm not mistaken. It's just been good to review people's music, eh? So this should open Spotify, but it's not. So that's annoying. Here we go. Thank you to Chromino for this track. Let's go. Let's do it. It's hectic, isn't it? Oh, and the slap, dude. Antenna plays. Is that a request? If you are wanting a track requested, just in case, if you're wanting a track requested, you want to make sure you go through the link in the description. And if you can place that request via Ko-fi, we should be able to do that track for you. Thank you. Hopefully you're well. Oh, the chaos. It's so funky though, man. It's so funky. That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. All right, that's great. So this was Fake by Crow's White. Now, David says it's a little like Polka Dot Stingray. I can kind of hear that a bit. I'm not sure what this track is about. I don't know what this track is about, but I enjoyed it regardless. I think this is off of the EP. Yeah, sorry, man. To be honest, when I used to do free requests, the queue would fill in like 20 seconds, so it was far more difficult to get a request before anyways. Hopefully you have a great day, though. Hopefully you have a great day. So what do I think this track is about? I assume it's about... I don't know who Mr. Sunday is. I don't know about the GPS, right? Is he or step, but either way, it's fine. The vocal performance from the lady who is singing is wonderful. They've got this sort of really innocent tone to the way they prescribe themselves within this track. And it's really pleasant to listen to. It's nice and palatable. Hang on, get some water. Gonna probably have to have a bit of a rest off my voice after this. What was I talking about? Yeah, we're talking about the voice. So really proper vocal technique. Really satisfied with the melodies they had there. The fragrant, the chorus melody was really fragrant. The hook line gets stuck in your head, you know. When we came down that interlude section, things became a bit more sort of gentle. The reverb tails on the vocals were really pleasant as well. And yeah, just generally all round, just how do I describe it? It's a very appropriate for style of music we're working, in part because the smoothness of the vocals contrasts really neatly with the harshness of those guitar tones. At 3 minutes 23, this track is quite well laid out. There are various verse and choruses with an interlude near the end as well. And yeah, honestly, it's great stuff because in part there is just so much going on with the different guitar, bass, and drum parts. Like they're so intense. The drums are so fast. We've got these eighth note accents in some of the chorus parts, and then we just it's just sort of like a dance groove to it at a higher tempo. The movement on the hi-hats, kicks, and snares is palpable, and we bring things down again for the interlude in the same way that the rest of the instruments do. But even then, like, there's still a sense of pace, even if it's less loud. And I just like the fact that we are so tight with our rhythm section, allowing the bass and guitar to follow along for it, despite the complexity of those drum grooves. The bass player working with root notes or doing some slap and pop stuff, which is really phenomenal. And it's just so exploratory and it's so funky and it works well with the bar chords and sort of dominant sevenths and extended parts that the rhythm is playing on the sides there. And it's just so, there's so much real estate for the singer to do their thing on outside of that. It's even though it's a complicated arrangement harmony wise, etc., the singer is able to sort of still have the focus of the piece and it never becomes sort of dull or disinteresting. The moments of respite where things are quieter, you appreciate those. I'm just gonna make sure I haven't missed anything, right? Yeah, and there's some occasional sort of like drum fills which are just phenomenal as well, like the parts that we skipped over at that one point there, where it's simply just the drums, but because there's less of the stuff on the side, it seems quieter, even though the drums are still super loud and super in your face. It's a really frenetic technical piece that is well performed without a note out of place. The theme overall, I think it's meant to sound upbeat and positive with the predominant major focus, but there's also some kind of bluesy kind of shenanigans occurring in some of those sort of bridge and sort of interlude parts there. And when things come down, you get a feeling that it's a bit more tender. But ultimately, yeah, I'm not really sure how to take it. You'd probably need the vocal, like the lyrics, to be able to understand the lyrics in order to get more of a feel for it. But the studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering in general is just very good. You can hear everything in the mix. Great use of like the stereo field and frequency spectrum with no word resonant frequencies. The layering in general is tight without a note out of place, and it's nice and loud. And I think this is the first time I've listened to A Crow is White, and I enjoyed my time with it. So thank you to Chromino for putting this track through. It was awesome, man. Awesome piece of music. Awesome tune. Awesome times, man. We're doing well for time, I think. But what have we got next? Shinyida, right? Is this Shinyida? Thanks for your request. What have we got from Shinyida today? I think we've got 2 pieces, if I'm not mistaken. It is, and this is Ideal Bastard all the way out. Let's do it, man. Let's go. Yeah, sweet. Oh man, the push behind that. I like his jacket. I know I shouldn't interrupt, but I like the jacket with the Astro Boy on it. I think that's really cool. Really unusual voice, but I like it.
己，别输不起，累积了伤心，终究要相见际。爱不再是选择题，当你已经选择你，那些爱过的证据都失去踪影，还有什么能失去你？离开的一路上，我没忘记你微笑的脸庞，好像是在告诉着我不应该为谁哭，可能你一个人比较幸福。离开的一路上，反复想起灿烂的星空下，对彼此许下过什么天真的美丽，今后谁也别提起。
Great transition to a lead here, though. To a lead guitar, should I say. It's just great to have that guitar lead on the end there, just to harmonize on top of everything else. And that was Shin Yuda's request. The first. I think we have another one after this to do, to be fair. But this was a request track from an act named Ideal Bastard, titled All the Way Out. Ideal Bastard, All the Way Out. Okay, so what I think this track is about, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this track is about, but I appreciated listening to it. I think that the guy's vocals are phenomenal. Like, phenomenal is a strong word. Just, they're really intriguing. And yeah, David, I do know Astro Boy. I remember watching the Astro Boy anime back when I was either a kid or a teenager, whichever of the two. But yeah, just making sure that we're still streaming. That's good. Nothing weird there. That's great. So yeah, the vocals are interesting because of the technique. The way that the vocals go up and down and they kind of fluctuate and move back and forth is really intriguing. The way that we go up to our falsetto and kind of roll off of that is kind of unique. And it's just a really pretty sounding voice as well. The texture and timbre, it's very intimate. It's got this gorgeous kind of sense of shimmer and sheen to it that I like hearing. And I think that it's difficult to really improve upon a performance like this, especially when you have these acoustic guitars on the sides, the leads, the bass drums, and then the strings, of course. It's like more of a sort of a traditional kind of balladesque kind of pop singly part. But I think that it's handled in a way that, again, because of the difference in the vocal style and stuff like that, is solid. You just need something sort of unique to kind of make it hit. That makes it their own. I feel like that's part of it. The track at 4 minutes 09, I think, is well layered. I feel like the combination of strummed acoustic guitars with the electronic lead on the other side, the bass. Is there a bass? Hang on a minute. I don't think there is a bass. It sounds like there's a bass guitar. I'm pretty sure there's a bass guitar in the actual mix. So I'm wondering if they've simply got a bass and like the strings in the backing track or something like that. I could be wrong. But either way, I think that the bass guitar represented the root notes incredibly well. The strings highlighting what was going on with a lot of the guitar chords from the steel strings. So I feel like those instruments may not have necessarily been worth replicating within a live performance anyways. There are additional layers within it. You can kind of get a lot of what you need from having simply that acoustic guitarist and the lead guitarist and the drummer and then the vocalist in the center. So when you look at the sort of guitar chords we have, they're sort of very sort of shimmery, kind of jangly chords, probably opens. There were some arpeggios occasionally, but in those louder parts, we really did sort of allow them to soar. And the lead guitarist, when they're not sort of working with the octaves in the high range that they were with the distorted tone or playing arpeggios, it was just nice that they had a lead section on their own as well to appreciate, for them to sort of like spread their wings a little bit and kind of go out there and have fun too. And I feel like the lead guitar was a nice foil. The lead guitar, should I say, was a nice foil to what was going on with the singer there having their own part in the track, sort of switched things up and made them a little bit more sort of like interesting. And you came back up into the chorus afterwards in a way that was very satisfying. It wasn't necessarily revolutionary, but it was nonetheless effective there. And I just think this was meant to be sort of a more kind of genuine down-to-earth track with a majorish tone there that allowed, again, a bit of crispiness from the lead guitar, just kind of niche in with the steel string acoustic and the drums, etc., in a way that was really satisfying. And I think it was meant to sound like a warm, loving track there without the understanding of the lyrics and the further sort of nuances with that. The studio production for the live performance was good. The bass drum was a little bit resonant, but aside from that, I feel like everything else was really great. And I think that it was a solid representation, I think, of the core concept of the piece. I think that for a live performance, they played together and had a great sense of had a good solid sense of chemistry there, and people seemed to know what they were doing and have their kind of game face on. And it wasn't too over the top. It was nice and loud. You could hear all the instruments individually, even with the backing track parts. And yeah, honestly, it was great to hear the track from Ideal Bastard, titled All the Way Out. And thank you to Shin Yida for putting this track forward. I appreciate it. It's good. And that is done. Now, I think what we have here is we have one more song, if I'm not mistaken. So what we're going to do, Sup Shredders, I have closed. I'm going to close the queue now. The queue. Thanks for your requests so far and for hanging out. And what... So yeah, the queue is closed now. We have one more track. Is closed. And we'll go here. There we go. So the queue is closed. So, what do we have for the last track of today, though? From Shin Yida. There we go. Boom. So apparently this is 7 Fat with their track Come Together. This was the theme song produced by Taiwan for the Global 12 Baseball Tournament, and Taiwan ended up beating Japan to win the World Championship for the first time in 32 years. And they ended Japan's 27-game international winning streak. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing this with me, Shin Yida. I appreciate it. Let's go. Let's do it. The last track for today. That was straight to the point. They just got right into it, didn't they? I love the extra guitars in that part. That bit extra oomph.
自己较量，就一起掀起狂风巨浪，拿出我们无所畏惧的心脏，热情的音乐在我的主场，就一起对得起梦想。
And just the chanting there is a lot of fun. Just how much everyone is into it, right?
野球坚持到最后，攻击嘅恐怖人，上水开的是台湾的马拿出我们与众不同的坚强，超越了输赢，跟自己较量，就一起掀起狂风巨浪，拿出我们无所畏惧的心脏，热情的音乐在我的主场，就一起对得起梦想，努力是我们的信仰。
We play rugby. We play a lot of rugby. We don't play a lot of baseball. We have a baseball team and they do okay, but they're not at the level of Taiwan or Japan or something like that.
球来就打，不会被谁影响。飞过了高墙，发热发光，像一颗太阳，朝天际发出灿烂的光芒。拿出我们与众不同的坚强，超越了输赢，跟自己较量，就一起掀起狂风巨浪。 拿出我们无所畏惧的心脏，热情的音乐在我的主场，就一起加油，就一起加油，就一起勇敢，学会吧，中华队加油！
Dude, that was awesome. That was such a cool way to finish today. Thank you so much for putting this track through. What a cool song, man. So that was 7 Fat with Come Together. What do I think this track is about? I think it's about, as Shen Yida said, I think it's about everyone coming together to support the baseball team. And it's awesome. How could you not win with this being your theme song? This is just so fantastic, dude. It's just such a simple concept to understand, but so effective. And the vocal performance, it's not just that the main sort of vocalist is exceptional in their range. They've got great vocal technique. They're charismatic and entertaining and energetic. And they're definitely all the way for it. Like, the people in this track, they really cared about what they were doing. It's a really believable, enrapturing performance. I just love it. I think that the chants, the crowd chants and stuff like that are really cool. That they're chanting together and enjoying themselves. And there's just so much passion behind it. As well as that, I think that it's not only the fact that the vocals made a lot of sense with the lyrics, it's that this track is so high octane. It's so high octane the entire time. And what part of why that works is because of the fact that there's these sort of pop punk kind of alt rock kind of timings that just, it's such a high, okay, let me get my bearings together. It follows a more traditional verse chorus feel, but it also is like an anime intro. It's no filler. You have these snare fills and these fast drum beats and grooves with the hi-hats and rides. It's just floor to the wall, 1, 2, 3, 4. But like just there's all these little intricate percussive bits and elements that effortlessly transfer. There are adjustments where we kind of go half time or we double time it, etc. We navigate the key signatures effortlessly, and the key signature changes, and we just are phenomenal with our dynamic range as well with the drum kit. As we slam it, man, it's dope. It's great that we also know when to sort of not have drums to minimize it. Minimize it? I think that's it. The bass guitar following the root notes, being very loyal on that low end. The guitar, though, the fact that we have these power chords and it's just that kind of pop punk, chirpy, kind of upbeat, let's get everyone together kind of thing. It's just so cool to hear that those extra guitars come in on the side of the stereo field in the chorus section. They're so full of life and vivacious. And it's just so heavy. But these lead guitars, the occasional guitar solos that you have are just wonderful. Like they're so fast, and there's little tappy parts, and they go and they go really, really, really kind of like super fast. And you just get sucked into it, and it's so colorful as well. It's so colorful. And you just left feeling like you've just been on this massive adventure working with this team to sort of celebrate it together. And you think about the way the guitars, bass, and drums worked with the vocals and the chanting and the crowd and everyone. Taking the visual experience as well of the music video, and it does really seem like a track which just wants to continue to elevate you. It wants to get everyone together and bring you up. The intensity, the tone of it, the speed of the drums and how they niche with the power chords on the guitars, the fluidity of the lead guitars and the way they're so colorful and optimistic, and the way they work alongside the more sort of straightforwardness of the vocal melodies. You combine those elements together and you've just got an absolute anthem that I think absolutely nailed the brief, so to speak. It nailed the brief of what they were trying to do with this. And I feel like the studio production is just the icing on the cake there. There's a wonderful clarity to everything involved with this. And I'm glad I had the chance to listen to it. Thank you to Shin Yida for putting this track through. I had a great time with it. Now, on that note, it is time for me to go, as it is the end of this live stream today. We have had tracks from as follows. Hang on, we'll go back here. We've had tracks from Jerry Huang, Sweet Lily Love, David, Bowie, Adonis Boyd, Dinnerhay, Cromino, Ideal Bastard, Shinyida, and 2 from you as well. So we had quite a few tracks there. We did 9, which is a good effort. And thank you for your 9 requests. Hopefully you'll have a fantastic weekend. I was going to record some Patreon videos today, but my throat's a bit sore. So I might do that. I might do the videos tomorrow. But hopefully you'll have a fantastic weekend. I will catch you all at the next live stream. I will try and schedule those within the next day or 2. But stay cool, Shredders. Spiderhands out. 3, 2, 1.